Jeff Little here at the Westminster Golden Living Center, and on this video we're going to talk about leftover records. Leftover records are something that can really help you monitor how much you're feeding the garbage can, because the whole goal of all of this is to make sure that you're feeding your residents better food. And if you're feeding the garbage can a lot of food, you can't afford to feed your resident those high quality items. So let's take a look at the form that we're using. This is one that I just made up, and it covers our 3 steam tables. We actually do go room to room with the steam tables and serve out of there. And I've written down each item that we have today. We're going to go out when the steam tables come back and write down how much is here. Now, in order for this way of determining how much food waste you have to work, it needs to be something that's positive. How you interact with your employees needs to not be one of a punitive nature of oh, you're in trouble, you wasted a lot of food. It needs to be turned into a game that they can win. And your first couple times, you're gonna sort of establish a baseline of how much food are we throwing away at the end of each meal. And then from there forward, just by act of their paying attention, they're gonna start cooking less. They're gonna, the cook's memory is such an important asset for every kitchen. In their understanding, hey, last time I cooked both cases of the asparagus, and this time I'm only gonna cook a case and a half because I remember last time, we had 37 extra portions. Then next time you do your food order, you're going to have that half a case of asparagus. You only need to order 1 case, and it moves forward from there. And that ties back into what we did in the first order, or the first video, in determining this number, the maximum amount that you can spend on a U.S. food service order. So when you start trimming what you need to order each subsequent week, this number shrinks, more and more, and then you're able to afford better food. So let's head out into the kitchen and do this leftover record and see how much food waste we had today. All right, I got Rose here. She's going to help me with this leftover record. And all we're doing is just counting everything that's left in the steam tube.
Okay.
Alright, these are my totals, and now we need to determine the cost per portion of each of these. One way to do that with your entree items like the steak is to go onto Beach, find the product, type in Angus there, you get your product. $45.49 for 42 portions. Looks like $1.08 per steak. When you're figuring out conversions like this, it's important that you start with your dollar amount, and the other units will cancel out on the top and the bottom. The case here cancels out, and you have dollars per portion. It's $1.08. Some of the other items are going to be a little bit more complicated, like mashed potatoes. You're going to have to, here's mashed potatoes, 29 of them. You'll go on here and get your cost per case, and then you'll have to look at the package. Let's look that up. Mashed potatoes. Looks like $42.07 for six boxes. $42.07 for one case, and one case you have 6 boxes, and for every one box you have a certain number of portions. We're actually going to run back in here to the store. Let's say, okay, mashed potatoes. You have 58 portions. So we'll plug that into the equation we just did. Figure out how much a portion of mashed potatoes cost. $58 portion, and again, box and box and case cancel out. You have dollars. You have a quotient with dollars over portion. So we will do 42.07 divided by 6 boxes divided by 58 portions, and it looks like it's 12 cents per portion. So I'll continue that for every item on here, and I will multiply it by the number of portions that we had and add it all up and give a dollar amount of the cost of the meal that we fed the garbage can today. Here's one more example before I finish doing all the cost per portion. Asparagus is $40.10 per case in one case, and I just looked here and I multiplied 6 by 2.5 pounds with 15 pounds. 1 pound is 16 ounces, and there are 4 ounces per portion. And again, we're going to cancel out these units of a case on the bottom, a case on the top, pound on the bottom, pound on the top, ounce on the bottom, ounce on top, and you're left with dollars per portion. I'll go ahead and multiply that out now. Okay, I've totaled everything up, and the food waste from today's meal was $66.64. If you take that amount and just quickly multiply it by a year, that's a lot of money. And when you show that dollar amount to your cooks in terms of annualizing it, they'll start to understand that each of these little amounts, a dozen portions of meatloaf here and 6 portions of fruit cup there, does add up over the period of a year, and it's pretty substantial. I'm sure that everyone would like that dollar amount to work back into their raw food budget. Now, you're not going to be able to reduce all food waste, but certainly monitoring it like this on a regular basis is something that keeps it fresh in the minds of your cooks. And they're gonna look at this just like the asparagus example I used last time. The cook who's gonna see this report knows that she's portioned out an extra 18 portions. Next time it comes up, that's going to be a much lower amount. So now, this isn't the only place that there's food waste. We're going to look in the dish room here shortly and see what food waste is being scraped off the plates. A plate waste study is another way that you can estimate your amount of food waste. A couple years back, we switched from tray service to one where we use the mobile steam tables and we serve room to room, and we actually take orders. And taking orders is probably the best thing in terms of getting accurate production numbers to know how much you need to send out there. that's really going to trim how much excess food that you're producing, and it'll leave you food for next time, so you don't have to order quite so much on a week-to-week basis. But before we go into the dish room, you need to look for any opportunity you have to commend someone for a good job in terms of their production. Now, there are some things on here that I would say are not good production, but I have a new cold food aide who did the dessert, which was Fruit Cup, and her coming really close to the exact number she needed and only having that much in food waste. That's a success, and you need to always be on the lookout for an opportunity for positive reinforcement. So I'll talk with this new cold food aide and let her know she did a great job with her production and keeping that tight to the amount that we actually needed without running out. So she did good.
Now the success of the steam table method as opposed to tray line is seen right here in the dish room. Now we looked at a garbage can earlier and we saw a lot of food in there. We look in this one, because we've taken orders, that is mostly paper. There is very little actual food there. And you know, it really speaks to the strength of only producing the right amount and only sending out the right amount. And you can do a much better job at that when you're not doing tray line, when you're doing the 3 mobile steam tables rolling out to each unit and only serving what what the orders that were taken. That way you have very, very tight production numbers. In the next video, we're actually going to go over the process of order taking and specifically of tallying those items. These are the tickets for each area that we have. They take these tickets out and take orders, and this is a tally sheet. So we know exactly what we need to send out there. So we'll go over that process in our next video to help you feed the garbage can less.